First, the glomerular filtration and the factors that alters the glomerular filtration. This portion we have already read, I think, isn't it? Hello, have you read this one in the
Yes, sir.
previous
Yes,
class?
sir. Yes, sir.
Next comes the renal circulation. So renal circulation, there are some artery and arterioles, then capillary, vein, venule, etc. And blood supply in the kidneys is by renal artery, that is the straight branch of abdominal artery. It is the branch of abdominal artery. First, blood flows in this way, renal artery to interlobar, interlobar artery, then arcuate artery because it looks like the bow. So it is arcuate artery. Then interlobular, small, lobular artery. Then afferent arteriole. Then glomerular capillaries. Afferent arteriole breaks up into glomerular capillaries. Then peritubular capillaries in the cortex and vasa recta, same thing. And then it comes to interlobular vein, lobular. Then from there to arcuate vein, then interlobar vein, then renal vein, and then it comes out. In this way, the circulation goes on. And kidney receives 25% of the cardiac output. 25% of the cardiac output is not a matter of joke. E1. And capsule of the kidney is thin and tough. So if kidney becomes edematous, then it becomes bigger. The capsule limits the swelling and increase renal interstitial pressure. So the blood vessels are squeezed. So the blood flow is less. So glomerular filtration is less, and glomerular filtration rate is less, and prolonged anuria in acute renal failure occurs. This is the thing. Now, always you remember that when please recapitulate when the blood flows in circulation, first from artery to arteriole, arteriole to venule, venule to arteriole to capillaries, capillaries to venule, venule to vein, then great vein, then it comes back to heart. Again, it goes to artery, then arteriole, then capillaries. So from capillary to again capillary, when the blood goes, it flows through the heart. From capillary to heart, and then it comes to capillary. Instead of that, if the blood flows from a vessel to a capillary, then again to a vessel, and then again to a capillary, without going to the heart, without going through the heart, that circulation is called the portal circulation. Am I clear? Am I clear to you? Generally, in every circulation, what happens? First, from heart, by various vessels, blood comes to capillary. From capillary, through various vessels, blood flows and then comes back to heart. Then again by various vessels, it goes to the capillaries. Instead of that, if there is any circulation where circulation blood flows from capillary bed to a vessel and then without going to the heart again to a capillary bed, then it is called the portal circulation. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
there are three portal systems in our body. One is hypophyseal portal system. Hypothalamo means hypothalamus. In hypothalamus, there is a tuft of capillary, then there is a vessel, and after that again the vessel bursts into divides into capillary in the hypophysis or in the anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary is hypophysis. So this is called hypothalamo hypophyseal portal system. Number one. Number two, there is hepatic portal system. Hepatic portal system. And number three, there is renal portal system. So the renal portal system is there. So there are three portal systems. Right? Then what is portal system? Again, I am telling when the blood flows from a capillary bed without going to heart, again it flows to another capillary bed, then it is called the portal system. Right? So renal has a portal system. My kidney has portal system. Now, if we go again here, you see, first from artery, arteriole, then arteriole, then this is artery, okay? Artery, then arteriole, then capillary, then again a vessel, then again capillary, right? Or again either peritubular capillary or vasa recta, same capillary. So capillary, again a vessel, again capillary. Capillary, then arteriole, then again capillary, without going to heart. The blood is flowing two capillary beds. So it is called renal portal system. Am I clear now? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now, innervation. Innervation, sympathetic, parasympathetic, both are there. Sympathetic supply from lower thoracic and upper lumbar because it is near to the kidneys. Sympathetic supply apparent, different vessels, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, and extraglomerular apparatus, dense snoring. These are these are the information. Now the renal reflex. What is renal? Increase in ureteral pressure in one kidney. एउटा किडनीमा युरेटरको प्रेसर एउटा युरेटर प्रेसर धेरै भयो भने it leads to decrease in the motor nerve activity to the collateral kidney. This decrease permits increase in sodium and water excretion. So if the one ureteral pressure is increased, so if there is increase in ureteral pressure in one ureter, then in the contralateral kidney, the blood flow is less. Time flow of blood per minute is less. So more blood remains for more time. So there is more absorption of sodium and increase in sodium and water excretion. Right? That is renal reflex. Next, we are going to what we have read in the previous class, the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Right? Juxtaglomerular apparatus, it is called juxtaglomerular because this machinery is very adjacent to the glomerulus. This machinery means three types of cells are there in the machinery. One is juxtaglomerular cell. Number two is the macula densa cell. Number three is the Lassus cell, which is not shown there. These three types of cells makes this apparatus juxtaglomerular because these three types of cells are very near to the, very proximal to the glomerulus. So it is called juxtaglomerular. Why it is so? Why? Because when there is hypotension, low blood pressure, then the filtration here, the pressure of filtration here is less. Pressure of filtration is less. Hypotension, I am telling low blood pressure. So pressure is less. So when the effective filtration pressure is less here in the glomerulus, there at the time what will happen? The blood, glomerular filtration and the glomerular filtration rate both will be less, and there will be hypotension, right? At that time, this juxtaglobal apparatus makes the system in such a way, keeps the system in such a way that the blood pressure becomes again high, and uh, becoming high, it becomes normalized, not less at that time, and the glomerular filtration formation rate GFR is normalized. That is the function of the juxtaglomerular apparatus. In that, here in the macula densa cell, which is in the distal tubule, which is adjacent to the juxtaglomerular cells, these juxtaglomerular cells are modified smooth muscle cells because it is the arteriole. This one is the afferent arteriole, this one is the efferent arteriole. So these cells are modified smooth muscle cells. They contain renin, and this basement membrane less. There is no basement membrane here. Basement membrane less portion of the columnar cells of the distal tubule. They are macula densa cell, and these cells and detect if there is less sodium. When there is less blood flow, when there is hypotension, at that time there is less GFR. So less GFR and sodium is coming out less. So that sodium is flowing through through, through this tubule. It is the part of the tubule, isn't it? So tubular fluid gets less, contains less sodium ion. This less sodium ion yeah, is detected by this macular dense. Am I clear? Hypotension, so less GFR and less sodium ion comes in the tubular fluid. When this tubular fluid flows through this tubule, distal convoluted tubule, the macular densa cells of the distal convoluted tubule gets it that the sodium is less. So they secrete, they give signal to the juxtaglomerular cells and the Lassis cell, and this juxtaglomerular and Lassis cell produces renin, right? And what happens? You see, if there is hypotension or decreased sodium, then there is renin secretion. This renin acts on angiotensinogen, which is in the plasma. It is a plasma protein. Angiotensinogen is acted upon by renin, and angiotensin 1 is formed, which is an decapeptide, 10 amino acid containing peptide. Then this decapeptide angiotensin 1 is converted into angiotensin 2 by angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensin converting enzymes um, are in the capillary endothelium of the lungs. Capillary endothelium of the lungs contains this enzyme, angiotensin converting enzyme. And angiotensin 2 is formed. Angiotensin 2 is an octapeptide. 8 amino acids are there. Main function of the angiotensin 2 is to constrict two things. To constrict the efferent arteriole. Efferent, I'm telling efferent arteriole, this arteriole. Because this is afferent, this is efferent. And this arteriole has angiotensin 2 receptors. Okay. So this will be contracted fast. So this portion is open, this portion is almost closed. So there will be very high pressure here. So the glomerular filtration will be more, glomerular filtration rate will be more, and it will be GFR will be normalized. Number one. Number two is angiotensin 2 is a systemic vasoconstrictor, is a high vasoconstriction constrictor. So if there is systemic vasoconstriction, so peripheral resistance is more, so hypertension will be there, blood pressure will be high, and the low blood pressure is overwhelmed by the high blood pressure. Blood pressure becomes normal. That is the main two things by the done by the angiotensin 2. First, the efferent, I am telling efferent arteriole is constricted, and number two, and the GFR is maintained. Number two, there is systemic vasoconstriction, so hypotension will be cured, and there will be hypertension and normotension, normal. And for the longer time, if the angiotensin 2 is there, there is be cardiac and vascular hypertrophy. That is why and ACE inhibitor, ACE angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor is used in treatment of the higher hypertrophy of blood and very high blood pressure. Angiotensin 2 also increases the thrust, so there is water intake, so blood volume is more, so cardiac output is more, and the blood pressure is normalized. It acts on the ADH also, the pituitary ADH is more, so blood contains more water. Water is not lost. Anti-diuretic hormone, so diuresis or high volume of Pishab, urine is not formed, so there is sodium, and it also acts on the adrenal cortex. Aldosterone is there, so sodium and fluid is retained. So at the ADH retains water, aldosterone retains sodium. From thrust to thrust, there is more water intake in the body, and blood volume is more, and in that way, the hypotension is normalized. So this is the main function of the renin-angiotensin system. Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then this is very, very important. If you don't have time, then you take a photograph. May I go to the next slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, let us come to measurement of GFR. The measurement of GFR is done by using inulin clearance. I'm not telling insulin. See, inulin clearance. Inulin is a carbohydrate, and it is present in the dahlia root. लाहुरे फूल हुन्छ नि, लाहुरे भन्छ, लाहुरे फूल यसको रुटमा हुन्छ डालिया फ्लावरको रुटमा इन्युलिन हुन्छ. And inulin is non-toxic. Whatever you inject, it will not be absorbed and not be secreted. Everything what you inject in the blood, and that will come into the urine. That means it goes through the glomerulus, the capillaries, and it comes out. That is why for the measurement of GFR, inulin is used. Why? Because inulin is non-toxic, number one. It is not absorbed and not secreted. Only it is filtered. The GFR only filters somehow. GFR means only filtration. And filtration for where is the filtration? Point of filtration is the glomerular capillaries and the Bowman's capsule. That is why inulin is used for measurement of GFR. And it is done by using this formula UV by P. UV by P. U means inulin concentration in the urine. that is 35 milligram per ml. And V means volume of urine produced per minute. It is almost 1 milliliter per minute, 0.9 ml per minute. 1 no, 0.9 একদম ডাইরেক্ট। Then P by P মানে concentration of urine, concentration of concentration of inulin in the plasma. That is 0.25 milliliter. That means inulin has to be injected in such a way. Has to be injected in such a way that the plasma concentration of inulin remains 0.25 milligram per ml, right? And in that way, if you put the formula, then the GFR comes 126 ml per minute. 126 or 125 milliliter per minute is the normal glomerular filtration rate. Now, the factors that controls the GFR is AF, GC by PT, alpha concentrate of glomerular capillary by T, and the T is tube. This formula is used for GFR measurement also. Why it is so? It is the effective filtration pressure. This one, you third bracket, in the third bracket it is there. This is called the effective filtration pressure, right? This is the main force of filtration. What is that? That is, come here, follow the cursor please. That is the hydrostatic pressure of glomerular capillary. GC माने के हो glomerular hydrostatic pressure of glomerular capillary minus hydrostatic pressure of Bowman's capsule minus right in this direction. 1, 2, 4 direction. Getting outside, right? Remember, please think blood is a colloidal fluid. It has plasma protein. Plasma protein tries to take what inside it. This way, when the plasma protein is working, the osmotic pressure of the blood is trying to get some fluid from outside to inside, right? So, in to outside to inside, then blood, pani tanchane, water is drawn, kaha inside the. So there is a tug of war one hydrostatic pressure is uh, trying to give, trying to out the kick out the watery part, and the osmotic pressure is trying to pull the watery part, right? So there is a tug of war here. Am I clear? বুঝেও কি বুঝে না?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
okay? Now you think about the Bowman's capsule. In the Bowman's capsule is what is there? There is air or water. Air chalk, water chalk. Ita, ita. Is there any air or only fluid?
Fluid.
Fluid. Okay, fluid is there. So the so that fluid is called the filter, glomerular filtrate. That fluid is called glomerular filtrate. You know that in the glomerular filtrate there is no protein. So water is there. Water, only water is there. So water is giving hydrostatic pressure. So the water is trying to go out from this. So byro, and is in there, inside there, inside the glomerular Bowman's capsule fluid. That means the in the Bowman's capsule fluid there is no protein. So osmotic pressure is zero because there is no protein. So is not there to protein is not there to draw water inside, right? So here osmotic pressure is zero because there is no protein. Here osmotic pressure is 25 millimeter mercury because it is blood, right? And in here also there is hydrostatic pressure. Here also there is hydrostatic pressure. So here there is some tug of war. Here also there is tug of war. So in that way, the resultant one, what is coming? Hydrostatic pressure of glomerular capillary minus hydrostatic pressure of Bowman's capsule minus the colloidal osmotic pressure of the glomerular capillary, that is the blood, and minus colloidal osmotic pressure of the Bowman's capsule is the effective filtration pressure. And by putting the values, the hydrostatic pressure of the glomerular capillary is 45 millimeter mercury. For Bowman's capsule, hydrostatic pressure is 10 millimeter mercury. For colloidal osmotic pressure in the glomerular capillary, it is blood. So blood colloidal osmotic pressure we know, plasma colloidal osmotic pressure we know 25 millimeter mercury. So it is 25 millimeter mercury. And as there is no protein in the Bowman's capsule fluid, that means in the filtrate. So here this osmotic pressure of the Bowman's capsule fluid is zero only. So if we calculate, we will get 10 millimeter mercury pressure. That is why from the capillary, the watery part is coming out and entering into the Bowman's capsule. This is the main force. With this, we are multiplying the Kf. Kf means the permeability. It is a constant thing. It is a product of permeability and surface area. And permeability is fixed because permeability is 50 times more than the skeletal muscle blood vessel permeability. Skeletal muscle capillary permeability. Skeletal muscle in skeletal muscle also there is capillaries. Theater also permeability. You banda dhereni dherechan permeability of the glomerulus. 50 times dhere, right? So membrane is negatively charged due to the presence of sialoprotein, as we have already told in the previous class. Albumin is negatively charged, which is in the blood, and sialoprotein in the membrane is also, basement membrane is also negatively charged. So both repel each other. So the albumin cannot come into the glomerular filtrate or in the Bowman's capsule fluid, and that is why the Bowman's capsule fluid osmolality is the 0. Right? So bifurcation of the capillary flow is 1 to maybe less glomerular flow rate. Okay, you omit this one. This one you omit. So this one, Didi, and permeability same, and surface area. Now surface area may be more, may be less. If the, as we already told in the previous class, if the last if the mesangial cell contracts, then the permeability, then the surface area will be less. If the mesangial cell is stretched or relaxed, then the surface area will be more. So surface area can be changed, isn't it? See, surface area into permeability is equal to Kf. Permeability is same, surface area is almost same, so Kf is constant. So the factors controlling GFR is mainly what? This one is the main factor, that is the effective filtration pressure, right? Now, filtration fraction is GFR divided by renal plasma flow per minute. That means 125. And here renal plasma flow is this is the GFR value, this is the renal plasma value, that is 1/5. And if there is hypotension, GFR remains same, and the renal plasma flow, RPF money, renal plasma flow is less. Say for example, our 6 instead of 630, if it is 500, then it will be more. So it increases, filtration fraction increases in hypotension. In nephritis, negative charge of the glomerular well is dissipated, and that is why the albumin urea can occur. The albumin can occur can come in the urine in nephritis because the sialoprotein is lost. Otherwise, in normal kidney, as sialoprotein is there, it repels the albumin, and albumin cannot come in. Up to this, is it clear to you all? Should I tell it again?
Yes, sir.
Which portion do you need?
Clear, sir.
Huh? Which portion do you need to be repeated, or should I go to the next slide?
Next slide, sir.
Now let us come how this formula came. UV by P, how this formula came. The measurement of GFR for the measurement of GFR is done in clearance, what is clearance, and how this formula. Clearance means the volume of fluid or volume of blood completely cleared off from a given substance per unit time. Am I clear? Clearance means the volume of blood completely cleared off from a given substance, like inulin, like glucose, like something, like creatinine, okay? Completely cleared off from a substance per unit time. Just to like that, take the example of urea. Plasma urea is 30 milligram per cent. Urine urea is 2000 milligram percent. 2 milligram percent. 2 percent money 2000 milligram percent. So plasma urea, it is the P. Now 100 ml of urea contains 2000 mg. 2000 milligram percent মানে কি হো? What is the 2000 milligram percent urine urea? That means 100 ml of urine contains 2000. Then 1 ml urine contains how much? 20 milligram urea. And that is the urea concentration in the urine. So urea, right? Now urine volume per day is 1500. So urine volume per minute is how much? This is the value. So 1 ml, almost 1 ml. 0.9 to 1 ml also. Now you think 30 milligram of urea is present in 100 ml of plasma. Because plasma urea level 30 milligram percent. So 30 milligram of urea is present in 100 ml of plasma. 1 milligram unitary method. We are following the unitary method. So 1 milligram of urea is present in 100 by 30 ml plasma. So 20 mg urea which came into urine. 20 milligram urea is came in 66 ml of plasma. So formula of clearance is becoming what? This is U, this one 20, U urea, you know. Then V by P, P30, you know, is divided by P, P30, देखो P. Then V कथी? 20, you know, V. U कथी? 100. So the main question is 20 milligram of urea in 1 ml of urine per minute. That is 20 milligram urea mane kati? 1 ml in urine per minute is present in how much milliliter of plasma? Am I clear? So when the plasma is flowing, when the plasma per minute is flowing, 66.6 ml of plasma is cleared off. Other portion of plasma is containing this maybe urine, maybe urea, maybe creatine, maybe creatinine, maybe glucose. So all clearance. Clearance means what? The volume of plasma completely cleared off from a given substance per minute by the kidneys. Am I clear? This is the concept by which the UV by P formula has come. If it is not clear, no problem. You remember UV the formula of inulin clearance or creatinine clearance or any clearance is UV by P. May I go to the next slide?
Yes, sir.
You लेखे को? Did you write this? If you are not interested, the next. If you are interested in this slide, then I will keep you take write it down. Tell me what should I do. I mean, of clearance is U by P and is maga, the keep this one or should I skip to go to the next slide?
We can proceed, sir. Next slide.
Now, after glomerular filtration rate. Now, what we have read up till now, glomerular filtration rate, how the glomerular filtration rate is the condition, what are the factors that influence the glomerular filtration rate, and renin angiotensin system and maintenance of GFR, and the how the GFR is measured. Those things we have learned in up to this in the previous class, and we tried to clear it today up to this. Now let us come to the tubular function, because as I told you, if you can remember, then the function of kidney is the function of nephron, as the nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. Number one, the function of nephron is only three. One is filtration, another is reabsorption, another is secretion. Filtration takes place by the glomerulus, and reabsorption and secretion takes place in the tubules. Now, there are many things in the which should be absorbed or secreted, and they are all tubular functions. Besides that, kidney produces erythropoietin, kidney produces vitamin D3 and renin. These functions are there in kidney, as we told. Now let us come to the tubular function portion of the tubular function. In the tubule, in the renal tubule, there are water channels. In the renal tubule, there is proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct. In the water channels are mainly in the proximal convoluted tubule, and through these channels the water passes. Water means aqua. So aquarium that contains water, isn't it? Aqua means water. Pore means the meaning of pore is the hole. The hole through which the water passes. That protein is named as aquaporine. And aquaporine is present in the proximal convoluted tubule, that is aquaporine 1. It is a type of protein. And in the collecting duct, on the collecting tubule or collecting duct, the water channel is aquaporine 2, another protein through which the aqua or water can. Now, when the water is already in the tubule, it can be absorbed again through aquaporine 1 to present in PCT, or in aquaporine 2 present in collecting tube. Now, aquaporine 2, aquaporine 1, they act. When they do they act? When the ADH, anti-diuretic hormone from the posterior pituitary acts on these tubular cells in the PCT cell or in the CT cell. Now, what is diuresis? Diuresis means high volume of urine. High volume of urine. If there is high volume of urine, that means if there is urine production is more than 3 liters per day, is called high volume of urine, and that is called diuresis. and the hormone which is against diuresis, that is called anti-diuretic. Now there are two types of diuresis. Number one is water diuresis and number two is osmotic diuresis. You know that if the ADH is less, then urine volume is more, and that is more than when it is more than 16 ml per minute, 16 ml per minute, that is called water diuresis. If you take excessive water, there may be water diuresis. If the ADH is less produced from the pituitary, that is central water diuresis. If the ADH is normal, concentration is normal, but the ADH receptors are less in the kidney, then there is also water diuresis, that is called nephrogenic water diuresis. Right? Am I clear? So, what I told, if the ADH is less produced, if there is posterior pituitary or hypothalamus problem, ADH is less produced, then there is diuresis, water cannot be absorbed from the kidney, high volume of urine will be there, diuresis will be there, it is called water diuresis. And if central water diuresis, central water diuresis, if ADH is normal, titer, ADH dot titer, ADH concentration in the blood is normal, but ADH receptors are less in the tubules, maybe proximal pulmonary tubule, maybe duct, tubule. Okay. At the time, the water will also not be absorbed, and that is called water. That gives rise to water diuresis, and that is called nephrogenic water diuresis. But in both cases, that is water diuresis. That is water diuresis. Another type of diuresis is there, and in that case, what we have talked about, that is called diabetes insipidus. At that time, water, if you take the urine and you measure the specific gravity of the urine, and that will come 0, 0,